I spent 2 entire years struggling to build a business and made literally $0 online. I lived on 5 hours of sleep every single day, struggling to focus for even just 5 minutes at a time, on the brink of burnout, drowning in distraction after distraction. And I saw all my business friends are scaling upwards while I was scaling backwards. But that's all changed, because as soon as I used this focus system that literally fixed my internal state, every single distraction got me into flow state for 8+ hours a day, allowing me to enjoy the work. I managed to make $5,000 online while only working 6 hours a day and balancing school and everything else in my life at the same time. You see, this may ruffle some feathers, but the reason why you just can't reach your goals, you can't scale your business, isn't because you have ADHD, isn't because you have brain fog, isn't because you need to lock in and rise and grind harder, or you need the better strategy to actually reach your goal. What you do need to do is get rid of all the mental overload, rewire your brain, your dopamine system, your environment for real focus and work, not distraction. Because when you operate on this internal frequency every single day where you're distracted, you just can't do the work. This identity that you label yourself having every single day will manifest into reality all the time. And this is exactly what this 3-step system I'm about to go over does for your brain. And if I can do it, what is stopping you? And don't worry, I didn't take a nootropic or didn't chug 50 coffees when I woke up to just focus and get into flow state for 8 hours a day. All I did was follow the first step in the system, which is to reduce and recover. And now I know there's a big alarming thought in your head. What the hell do you mean by reduce and recover? Well, the thing is, distractions are everywhere. And when I think back to 2 years ago when I was making no money, struggling to focus on my work, I was better off doing nothing at all and reducing the things in my life rather than trying to add different productivity systems or different focus hacks. Because when you're in a state of psychic entropy, which is a state of just constant overwhelm, anxiety, inability to focus, low energy, it's impossible to build the right foundations off of that. What you need to do is break them down and then rebuild the healthy foundations. Because just imagine you're trying to build a house out of rotten wood, spending all that time planning and getting all the house plans, the decorations you want to put up. As soon as you just finish building it, it just collapses straight away. You need to actually fix and rebuild the process you're doing before you build the house. And it's the exact same thing we've got to do with our brain. And if you want to be able to get into this optimal state of human performance where you're 500% more productive, called a flow state, you need to first realize that flow follows focus. You need to be focused to get into the state. If you don't, then you will never get into flow state. And this is what the first step in this process, like I said, is to reduce and recover. It's about reducing so you can let your brain breathe and then increase the things that are actually healthy for you inside your life. So instead of waking up and instantly grabbing your phone and start scrolling, go for a walk as soon as you wake up. Instead of watching YouTube while you're on the toilet or you're eating your food, just focus on the thing you're doing. And what this will do is it will slowly rewire your brain to focus on one thing at a time and rewire your dopamine receptors to actually have a very low dopamine baseline so you find the work stimulating. And once you've removed the things in your life that are just hindering your focus, you want to recover the focus ability. And this is something called active recovery. This is a protocol that recovers the brain chemicals for flow state and focus. And so this is things like nature, cold showers, sunlight, exercise, box breathing, right? These little things you can implement in your life that regenerate the focus chemicals and allow you to focus for long periods of time and enter flow state easily. So all I want you to do in this first section is first reduce the things in your life that are unhealthy, that are hindering your focus, and then increase the active recovery, the things like nature walks, sunlight, exercise, these things that allow you to focus and rewire your brain to actually have natural dopamine sources. And then once you've reduced and recovered from this corrupted state and fixed the foundations, that's when we can actually start to add the focus into our life and a more deep work. So step 2 is to set a daily standard of how long you're going to focus for in deep work hours. Now, I do not want you to go from 0 to 100 straight away. Do not go from 0 hours focus to 6 hours focus, because that's practically impossible. Because I didn't just start focusing from 0 to 12 hours a day. I slowly upped the intensity over time. I did progressive overload every single day to slowly get to that point, because this slowly builds the focus muscle over time. And so what I want you to do right now is set a baseline for how long you think you can focus and increase it slightly. You want to challenge yourself with this so it actually engages your brain. It makes you actually want to progress, right? Because humans love challenges. And so this could be 5 minutes, this could be 30 minutes, this could be 4 hours if you want to, but just try to make sure you have a challenge of how long you're going to focus for the daily standard. And every single day you can increase this by 15 to 30 minutes. While you're doing this work, you want to remove the distractions, you want to work in a quiet environment, you want to have a clear intention for what you're going to work on inside your business towards your goals. And then what you can do is start to increase this by 15 to 30 minutes every single day or every single few days. And this will condition your brain to slowly enjoy focus and put it inside your routine instead of repelling from it. So by this point, you've reduced you've recovered your brain chemicals, you've recovered your dopamine to have a natural dopamine baseline, and you've also started to increase the amount of focus and deep work inside your life. And now once you've gone through that protocol, you'll find that you can easily focus for 4 hours a day, and this usually takes a few weeks. But what you can do now is start to optimize these hours for flow state and focus. And this leads me on to the final step inside the process, which is to utilize the basal ganglia and your willpower muscle. Now, what the hell is a basal ganglia? This is a part in your brain that basically helps you make the better decisions inside your life. So for example, let's say you're sitting at your desk and you have this urge to check your phone, but you just suddenly stop, right? Your hands pull away. That is your basal ganglia working. And because this is referred to as a willpower muscle, it slowly runs out the more you use it inside the day. And so what you want to do is start to use this effectively, because the reason why you struggle to focus in the afternoon at like 1, 2 p.m, 5 p.m. now is simply because you have a lower willpower compared to the morning. And so it's very hard to resist distractions. But to utilize this effectively, you just want to lean on certain things, certain systems, so you can save these willpower points for later in the day. So for example, you can install multiple web extensions that are screen time blockers inside your computer. You can turn your phone off, put it in another room, and so you don't have to rely on willpower to stop using it. And this will allow you to have the willpower points to actually effectively use it later in the day. And this is a 3-step system I've used to rewire my brain to actually make $5,000 online as an entrepreneur. And I guarantee if you try this entire 3-step process, you'll never lose focus again. In a few weeks, you'll be able to focus for 8+ hours a day, okay? And by the way, if you're a young entrepreneur who wants to get into a flow state for 8+ hours a day, completely shortcut this process in a few days, click the first link in the description, join my free community, okay? Have an amazing day. Peace.